It seems like the winds of change, Dad, are among us. In 1 week, we had 3 news stories come out about car dealerships getting caught in the crossfire of their not-so-friendly business practices.
The crossfire.
The winds of change, caught in the crossfire. I was trying to fit 3 in there, but I couldn't.
Yeah, no.
Napleton Automotive Group fined $10 million by the FTC and the Illinois State Attorney General.
Yes.
We have a $500,000 restitution in Arizona for 2 Nissan dealerships that advertised unattainably low prices and then jacked the prices up at the dealership. Never heard of that happening.
Never.
And then you have a Pittsburgh area dealer that had their dealership license revoked by the attorneys general there for doing nefarious things as well, shady things.
Shady.
3 stories 1 week. Seems like maybe we're having a difference. What's going on in the world of automotive? Let's start with the Napleton story.
Well, Napleton, they forced customers, 83% of their customers, just 83% of their customers, they forced fake fees into their loans and the purchase prices of the cars. And so the FTC and the Illinois Attorney General's office got together, and they met with the fine folks at Napleton. And Napleton has agreed that they've done nothing wrong, but for having done nothing wrong, they're willing to pay a $10 million fine to rectify what it is that they didn't do wrong in the first place.
And that money goes back to consumers.
Allegedly speaking.
But I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Napleton owns 52 dealerships across multiple states.
Yes.
Florida, the wild, wild west of Florida being one of them.
Yes.
This was brought against 8 dealerships in Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do we need to contact in the state of Florida, in the state of Ohio, in the state of Michigan? I think they operate as well.
And Missouri.
And Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay, wake up. If they're, you think they're just doing this exclusively in Illinois? No. No. No.
Well, you are assuming, maybe even correctly, you are assuming that, well, the state's attorney general in Illinois hasn't had any conversations with his or her counterpart in Missouri or Florida or wherever else, and perhaps they have, and you know, a lot of this stuff is kept under wraps until they're ready to make an announcement.
Yeah.
The right announcement would be that rather than just assessing a $10 million fine and allowing the dealership group to not admit any fault, would be to revoke their ability to do business and revoke their dealer licenses to do business. If you're like me and you need to know about EVs, tune into our new show on YA Electric, Plugged In, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That would have more bite to it than a simple slap on the wrist. And even though $10 million sounds like a lot of money, $10 million to this group is nothing. They just in finance and insurance revenue in 2020, they produced almost $124 million. That doesn't include service revenue. That doesn't include sales revenue just on the cars themselves. They could readily afford a $10 million fine. What they couldn't afford would be is if somebody said, you're not allowed to sell cars in this state anymore.
So let's switch gears. That's exactly what happened in Pennsylvania. The attorneys general in the state of Pennsylvania told Martino Motors, hey, you can't sell cars in our state anymore. Your dealer's license has been revoked.
Yes.
Now, this was because they were selling vehicles that were in physical condition that was not advertised. So they were selling cars which, if you haven't watched our most recent market update, 8 to 16-year-old used cars are appreciating the most, selling for the most at auctions because they're cheaper price points for consumers. We are very nervous about the quality of those vehicles. Those vehicles are getting sold to people like Martino Motors. They might have issues with them. They're not being disclosed. And Pops, you and I, even when we started YAA 2 years ago, we were helping people. We were actually helping people buy cars.
Yes.
I remember a poor gentleman that we helped in Alaska.
In Alaska.
He bought a car. Carfax was clean.
Yes.
It had been in a major accident.
A wreck.
A wreck.
Yeah.
The dealer never disclosed it. And we had to spend a lot of time getting his money back.
Yes.
Well, that happened here with Martino Motors, and I don't know. They said, their attorney general said, nope, we're not having it. That's revoking a dealer's license. That's good to see.
Yes, but there needs to be more of that. I am sure if it's happening at Martino Motors, it's happening at many other dealerships as well. And I appreciate the fact that the Attorney General in Pennsylvania would bring an action and revoke a license. But there needs to be more of that. They cannot be the only dealership in Pennsylvania,
no.
Western, Central, or Eastern Pennsylvania, that are doing things that are less than honorable, that would require their license to be revoked. So I think I think the laws and regulations that are in place in many states need to actually be enforced by the various states' attorney generals or consumer affairs divisions or whoever. But
now, there's the state's attorney general in Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. He's running for governor.
Yes.
I tweeted at him, said, "Hey, you want to join us on the show? Talk about how you're standing up for consumers. Come join us." I wouldn't be surprised if he takes us up on it. It's an opportunity to, pitch his platform.
He's probably going to ask, what's your viewership in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yes.
All right, the third story, Dan.
Yes.
The third instance of a dealer getting caught doing things that are not so good.
Yes.
Would be in Arizona.
Yes.
2 Nissan dealerships, ABC and Pinnacle.
Yes.
What happened there?
Well, they just advertised prices that they wouldn't sell cars for.
Crazy concept.
Yeah, never heard of that happening before.
Yeah, why are there only 2 dealerships getting caught up in this?
There might be 2 dealerships that actually advertise prices that you can buy the cars for, and there's probably 9,000 dealerships that advertise prices that you can't buy the cars for.
Auto Trader, Cars.com, Car Guru, those are literally jokes. The prices are never the price.
Well, in many cases, the dealerships advertise prices including incentives that, you don't qualify for, or 99.9% of the people would never qualify for. There's rules, laws, and regulations against such practices, but if cases aren't brought, then it doesn't really matter. And let me tell you that between Pinnacle Nissan and ABC Nissan, 2 of the larger Nissan dealerships in all of Arizona, a $500,000 fine each is nothing.
It's not each, it's total.
Okay, a $250,000 fine each is nothing. It's literally a drop in the bucket. It's just, to them, a cost of doing business. Will it prevent them from continuing to advertise like that? My guess is just for the short term. Maybe 6, 8, 10 weeks from now, they'll be back to their same old practices of advertising prices that you can't get. It shouldn't be that way.
Completely agree, but it's good to see that we have 3 actions in 1 week. I was actually very excited. The FTC one with Napleton's huge in the sense of the amount of dollars. It's trivial in the grand scheme of things relative to how much money they bring in. And it's happening more frequently than these 3 stories make it appear to be.
Yeah, the best thing about the Napleton one is that all their competitors in their various markets would be able to advertise that, if you shop with us, you're not going to get Napleton. You're not going to be force-fed fees that don't exist, or BS fees,
or products that you have to buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that might have a bottom line impact on Napleton, is if you
vote with your wallet.
Yeah, if their competitors publicize the fact that Napleton was just fined $10 million.
Let's talk about publicizing good and bad dealers. If you go to joinyaa.com/good, that'll take you to the list of all the dealerships that the YAA community has said that they would refer a friend to.
Wow.
And you can also see if they charge markups, they force you to buy accessories, things like that. You go to the opposite, joinyaa.com/bad. Well, it's all the dealerships that YAA community members said we would never recommend a friend go here if they charge markups, accessories, allow you to do pre-purchase inspections, things like that. Check that list, and heck, Dad, I might send that list off to Josh Shapiro's office or a few other states' attorneys generals and say, hey, what are we doing about these?
Or at the very least, send it to Sanity Clause, and so that all those dealers get coal in their stocking this year.